Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Sophie Coker and I'm a junior at Vestal. I am here to share a presentation on voting, why it's important for young people, and how we can vote. Before we get into this, I just want to say that this presentation is your call to action. You have a huge amount of power that you probably don't even realize, and it's your job to use it. So you may be saying, who cares? I wasn't planning on voting anyway. Allow me to share with you why voting in America is so important, but especially for young people like us. First off, our future. Whether you realize it or not, politics play a huge role in our lives. An election dictates what our country could look like in the future. Generation Z is the youngest generation that can vote in the 2020 election. While older generations are more reliable voters, our generation has the most on the line. When young people vote, they can have an influence on environmental policy, judicial appointments, and more. While we peer into an uncertain future, voting is a way for us to have an impact on our country. Of course, America is a democracy, and we the people need our voices to be heard. Gen Z is one of the most racially and ethnically diverse generations yet. At least 22% of Gen Z has at least one immigrant parent. Gen Z has a higher percentage of non-white people than past generations as well. So therefore, our government should represent the people. If young people don't vote, our demographic is being lost and therefore not represented. And because America is a democracy, it's important that all eligible voters take action so that we are all represented, including us. When you think about elections, presidents are the first thing that come to mind. Obama versus Romney, Clinton versus Trump, Bush versus Gore, etc. And presidential elections are extremely important, don't get me wrong. But oftentimes, people forget that there's more to the ticket. On our ballot this year, New York State voters can elect a member of Congress. For us specifically, it's New York State District 22. New York State Senator, District 52 for us, and a New York State Assembly member, District 123. As a New York voter, you have the opportunity to vote for the people in power in our state as well as the country, which is very important. Now more than ever, it is easy to be an educated voter. You have access to the whole world of politics on any of your devices. Many candidates have websites and social media platforms where you can look at their policies and find a person that you trust with your vote. While it's easy to find information on current events, candidates' policies, and even presentations like mine, I just want to add that not all media is truthful, so you should check multiple sources, seek out opposing views to combat your personal biases, and always, always stay aware of what you digest. So this is a list of some of my favorite resources for politics and voting. These websites, programs, and tools are great for staying in tune and updated with all of the latest news. The Civic Center encourages student-led voter registration and youth civic engagement, and it also provides tools to aid the organization of voter drives at high schools. Ballotpedia allows people to look up ballots that are specific to their location and also gives details about the candidates shown. So if you're unsure about who's on your ballot this year, you can look it up there. The flip side is my personal favorite. You can sign up for daily emails about left versus right reactions to current events. They have a very politically diverse editorial team, and it's great for contrasting different points of view if you're ever trying to combat your personal biases on certain topics. Issue Voter, you can sign up. Issue Voter informs users about bill outcomes and tracks representatives to show how much you agree with them and whether or not they have attended a vote. So if you're ever curious about the bill, House of Representatives type stuff, this is your place. And finally, PolitiFact is a nonpartisan group that is constantly fact-checking journalism, and it also has features that track politicians' promises, and it easily displays the truth. So this is another team that has a politically diverse editorial team and is constantly fact-checking everything. So if you're ever curious if what you're reading is true, here's your place. All right, so now I have some fun facts about youth voting for you guys. Did you know that voters ages 18 to 24 consistently have the lowest turnout in presidential and other elections? Only 22% of young eligible voters chose to vote in 2018. And this small percentage of voters was actually a significant increase from the previous election. Unfortunately, campaigns spend lots of time reaching out to different voting demographics, but young voters are often left out. So it is your job to seek out different campaigns and find someone that you personally agree with. And finally, young people will make up over a third of eligible voters in 2020, and that is a huge, huge number. We have seriously a huge responsibility, and young voters need to turn out to the polls this year. So hopefully by now you're convinced that you should vote. You're convinced. Now you're wondering, how can I vote? Where can I vote? How can I vote? When can I vote? I've got you covered. So where can you register? You can easily register at the DMV Motor Voter website for New York. It's a easy, short electronic form. All you need is your permit and or driver's license, and also your social security number. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. Very, very easy. When are your deadlines? The voter registration is due by October 9th. Absentee ballots must be requested by the 27th and then received by November 3rd, Election Day. Consider the mail time required for absentee ballots to be delivered if you decide to vote by mail. And also, I'd like to note that some of these dates may differ depending on what stance you're looking at, but I have a link for that as well, so you can look up the different dates. And then finally, how do I vote? This election, you can choose to vote absentee, or you can go to your local polling place and vote there. As an eligible New York State voter, you may search up this link here at the bottom for your polling place specifically, and then details about early voting, which is always good. All right, thank you everybody. I have a lovely tiny URL for you guys to find all of the links that I mentioned in this. I strongly encourage you guys to look at some of the resources that I provided. The link is tinyurl.com/vestalvoter. Hopefully your teacher will put the link in the chat. I'd like to thank Mr. Donlin for this opportunity, and thank you guys for listening. So I hope you guys vote. Thank you.